Well, some of you may remember when Rhonda was pregnant with Victor, that she got very, very sick. And actually, she was about a day away from dying. She had preeclampsia, some people call it toxemia, and just many of her organs were beginning to shut down. And she, I would, not to talk about the doctor's competency or anything, but I think he missed it. And we ended up in the emergency room, or in the, what's it called? What do you call it? The place? The intensive care unit. Intensive care unit down at IU Health.
We started out here, and they realized, oh, we got to get her to somewhere where they have more specialists.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to talk now?
Yeah.
I'll talk now. So I didn't know, actually personally, I didn't really know what was going on that much as far as how serious it was, which I think is a good thing. And I puffed up huge. I remember going in the bathroom and looking in the mirror after, and I was like little slits for eyes, and I laughed at myself because like, wow, look at me, that's hilarious.
You had gained almost 25 pounds of water
in water weight, yeah,
because your kidneys were shutting down.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So they kept coming in doing ultrasounds constantly. So tell them about when he was born.
Well, it was really interesting because you go into this room, and there are about, you have the couple OB people, some anesthesiologists, several nurses, many, many different people. It's a big room. And it was just so clinical, and we were just kind of in shock, really. We were just in shock. And after they got Victor out, they showed us the baby real quickly, and then they went off to try to, keep him alive. And I asked, did anyone notice if it was a boy or a girl? Nobody noticed. There were 11 people in that room. No one could tell us whether it was a boy or a girl. And, one of the most miraculous things, not just that he lived, but, when Bryler was born, I had this amazing love for Bryler the second I saw him. And I didn't feel that with Victor.
I don't think we let ourselves feel.
I'm certain it's some kind of protecting ourselves just in case. But, one of the real miracles is that even though he is very, very different, special, is the amount of love we have for him, and the amount of love
it's overwhelming
that he,
brings
out of us.
We were at Riley with Victor for 10 months, and that part itself, we had a 2-year-old at home, or 1.5-ish year old, whatever at the time. So all these people were taking care of Bryler, which that was huge. It was huge, the way different people would, and the way he went with it. That was miraculous, So he was everywhere and anywhere. I would try to get to Riley 3 days a week. Mike would try to get there the other 3 days, and we'd go together on Saturdays. Or Sundays. And anyway, so that part was miraculous. It was miraculous that we got Bryler potty trained right before Victor came home. So after 10 months, we came home with a huge Riley wagon and all the equipment, and a friend of mine was in the car with us videotaping, and it's pulling us into the driveway, and Bryler running out, and, Bryler didn't get any of this. He thought his brother would come home and everything would be normal. And he'd ask things like, well, where are my glasses? Where's my trach? Why don't I have those things?
Why don't I have tubes?
Yeah, where are my tubes? So that was, but anyway, it was like the last 12, 14 years, it's been Victor slowly developing, where with regular kids, you see it, weekly.
Pretty quickly.
And it was just slow motion. Fast forward a little bit to now, or the last couple of years, and we shared a couple of years ago at church, how he started doing this writing thing with one of his teachers that he had several years back, and she'd put her hand over his, and it's kind of subjective, and she'd have his hand over his, but she'd feel the movement of him making the letters. And the problem with Victor is his hand is big, his movement's big, and you need to get that smaller to get letters legible. So that hand over there and hand weights and pens that are weighted or that might vibrate, those all help him try to stay in a smaller area so you can actually read his letters. You feel him forming the letters. It's pretty interesting. But he would not do that with us. He wouldn't do that hand over hand with us much at all. It was like, no. I don't know what the hang up was. That first experience with writing, what was so overwhelming, for me anyway, is that he was writing how he felt. And that was amazing. Karma, you were the first one to see those papers. First one to see those papers. It happened on a Wednesday. I came to work after school. I had this stack of papers, and I said, look. And she started reading. I'm like, yeah, Victor wrote that. That part has been so miraculous. It's hard for us that he won't really do that with us. He has done it with several other people, but not like that one teacher he had, because she was, she did it every day, and he opened up with her. And
I remember at one point after Victor was born, people would email me and say, we prayed for Victor by name, or the pastor mentioned Victor in the prayer time, and we figured out all these churches. There were probably 7,000 people prayed for him on one Sunday. That's a lot of people. And while he wasn't necessarily cured of his disabilities, we have experienced a lot of healing. And I think the healing is pretty miraculous in that you accept your situation, you embrace the situation, and you learn to enjoy your situation. And that's pretty miraculous to me.
The miracle is, to get back on track, is how we became stronger and better people because of the gift that God gave us through Victor. And that's what people don't understand. How can it be a gift? I mean, what's that mean? It's so hard. Well, you'd have to come live with us for a few days and start seeing the miracle of living with someone like Victor, who sees all good in us.